All right, we're here. All Elite Zone. It's AEZ for you Yankees down there. We're the Canadians up here. We don't like our Prime Minister much, but we love our wrestling. Let's talk to him. Matt, how are we doing today?
Good. Nice to be here. What's going on, guys?
Justin, talk to me.
I don't hate the Prime Minister, but I'm really
good. All right, so we had a interesting week. It was all over the board. We've got our AEW stuff, but we have a lot of other things we want to talk about too today. TSN. This is what really grinds our gears. You did it with the Fed. When the network came out, you wouldn't let us watch it. What about the Great White North? Come on. Now, AEW. If you don't have TSN Plus, you're screwed out of Dynamite or out of Collision and Rampage.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt me, but Matt, what happened on your PVRs?
Yeah, it's just gone. Collision, it started. I think I had the first 3, maybe 4 episodes, and it's gone. So I'm trying to look around to see if it's on another station, but I've got it set up so it should record anytime on any of the TSN channels, and it's nothing. So I haven't tried. I know in the app you can log in, to the TSN app through if you're on Rogers or Cogeco or Bell, but and then you have to try and watch it on your phone or whatever. It's the only way. It's I don't get it. It's a pain in the ass.
Here we go. This is my TSN app. So you go on to the Plus, and then as you look down here, we're hitting all of it. This is the only way to view your stuff. We should be able to watch it in any regard. Justin, how are you watching?
Well, right now I'm watching through Waze. But yeah, the TSN
illegal streams.
TSN Plus was originally like a trial, pretty much. And they never gave it expiration date. And then on Thursday, they actually decided, hey, free trial's over. You want to access this and 1,000 tennis matches, you now have to pay, $8?
It sucks. Canada gets left out of some of the good things, especially when it comes to wrestling. We've got these monopolies sitting here between Rogers and Bell controlling everything, and it screws over the little man at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
But we still watched.
Yeah.
We started off with Dynamite, which I gotta say, I want to hit it right now because it's a perfect intro. I like Dynamite more than Collision this week. Rampage was just a continuation of Dynamite, an extra hour, a little bonus.
Yeah.
I liked it for the first time in, I think we're at 3 or 4 weeks where Collision was my top show. Does it askew because of Punk? Let's get to Punk at the end of the show. But how are we feeling about the looks?
What do you say,
I do agree with you. I do agree with you that Dynamite was better this week. I think it was probably the best Dynamite period in a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like the difference we're seeing. Rampage kind of have a darker kind of look to it. Well, Collision is kind of more bright looking, and they're trying different stuff production wise that is paying off.
Yeah. I think there's a razzle dazzle, steal the Jericho word, towards Dynamite. It gives you a lot more circus feel almost. But that's what the show is to me. It's a 3-ring circus, and the ringleader is sitting there at gorilla position. But then you look at Collision, where it's got this Sunday Night Heat color scheme that gives it that we're not the same. And they really prove that they're not the same as the rest of the roster. Seems like it's really being close-knit, but we'll get to that. Let's run through Dynamite really quick. Matt, do you have one thing to follow up there?
No, no, I want to keep it. I was, but talking about the shows, about the look and feel of them. Yeah, you're right though. It is more of that circus feel. Well, especially when you have Jericho for sure, and MJF and Adam Cole. They're letting those guys just kind of go off, do whatever they want, and just go bananas and creates just like a stir, and it's excitement, and it's just pure entertainment. Um, so you're right. So it those has that kind of more that feel, especially with the Don Callis. You got the Young Bucks. So you got a lot of those big kind of personalities on Dynamite versus Collision. But so Collision has feels like more like the wrestling, kind of like how do you remember back when the Raw and SmackDown, and they had different fields, and SmackDown was where it's just pure wrestling. They just wanted to do wrestling matches, where the Raw was more about the storytelling and the characters. So kind of feel like they're kind of feeling their way out. It's a kind of a Raw and SmackDown, but I'm feeling that Collision definitely is keeping pace, where it's not it's a secondary show, where you're almost ooh, which is the flagship show here, or which is the one? They're treating them both really well. I guess their rosters are really tight, and the production's really tight on both shows. So it's good. I like that there's no distinction between the A show and the B show.
What's interesting is following the numbers, and I mentioned that Collision has been climbing, which it actually hasn't. When we look at the last month and a half, Collision dropped, then popped, but peaking around 900, staying current between 300 to 500, 500 being the regular point. So now time will tell. I think some people have done a disservice, and it may push away the Dynamite watchers from watching Collision. I wonder why, but let's talk about it. You mentioned my guy, Jericho. We start the show with a segment. Now, that's my dude. So any segment is worth watching when it's Jericho on TV. As bad as he can be at times, I'm still watching. This was actually interesting. Bringing out the whole JAS and each having a spotlight on camera, getting them on TV, having a little fun with it. So, some people showing acting chops. Basically, we're looking at JAS meeting. Jake Hager walks out. The ladies walk out. But then you get to Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, and both of them start cutting onions on you. And I'm dying. I'm like, this is good. I think Matt Menard is one of the best. I'm going to cut there to a little story of Matt Menard. He did a show up here in Mississauga, I would say. And there were a lot of people. Marty Skrull, Pete Dunne, a bunch of people were on there. He was known as Big Magic. Drummond, were you with us?
I was not, but I know the story.
Okay. So me, Breezy, and Uri start singing, whoa, Big Magic, Starts off just the three or four of us. Starts moving around the room. By the time he really got into the match, we were able to bounce it around this room. It was so much fun. And then I see him on TV, and I still think about Big Magic. But he's so old school with his promos, the yelling, the voice.
Yeah, I love it.
Enunciation on certain things. There's a little bit of Quebecois in it every once in a while. And I'm huge on this guy. I want to know what makes his nipples hard. And the thing that doesn't make the nipples hard is Chris Jericho. He's out.
So I'm going to say to this one, I don't know if you guys were watching it. It was entertaining, but I know when a group like this dissolves, I was like, which ones are the Marty Jannetty's kind of walking out the ring for the last time? The Jake Hager. I'm like, what is he? His whole thing. He has been with Jericho since he's been here, and he just plays that role. He's the quiet, just the giant. He kind of does what he's told, and he's used infrequent. So what happens with him? What happens to all the other guys? What are they going to do now? Because they were part of something. I just kind of was like, Are they going to fizzle out, kind of like Heavy Machinery when they split Otis and his partner, and then they changed his look, and you're like, oh, okay, he is totally the Marginetti, and he just kind of fizzled out. So who's going to remain? Like, what do you see as the plan, or who's going to, actually have something past this?
When you look at the roster, I think the smart plays here, and I would like to play this game. We'll start with the ladies. Ty, she's busy. She's looking great pregnant, but she's busy.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to be off TV for a unforeseeable amount. I don't think she's going to do anything that's risky in any way. So remove her from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Menard and Angelo will bounce because they're a tag team. Get them into the tag team division. Let's have some matches. Send them back with Danny G to just keep going. Anna Jay, we know where she needs to be. She needs to be driving that gosh darn limo. Get to the douchebag and make him look like a prick. There's no way we don't want her as his side character. It's so easy to see it. I like that one. Then we go over to Sammy. Sammy said something. I will get to Sammy. I'm going to hold out on him. Give me something on the Jack Perry and Jay.
Do you think, what? I keep on thinking whenever I see Luchasaurus and Christian Cage right now, and I see the heel turn of Jungle Boy, I'm like, are they really trying to keep separate? Because it'd be so good to bring them back as a group at some point, because now he fits it and he has the attitude. I'd love to see it back as a trio again. But are they totally going to keep it separate?
I'm going to go on the opposite side of the spectrum on that. There's not a chance I want them back together. I felt Luchasaurus kept Jungle Boy at this level, and he can't rise, he can't go lower. But this guy is not Jungle Boy. And putting him back with them is going to take him back a step. We have just scratched the surface of what Jack Perry can do. This week,
I can see
very special too. We should touch on Jack a lot more there.
So I think, it's your point. Yes, I can see that they're trying to, because again, Christian needs a spotlight. He's the mic guy. He's the mouthpiece. So I get it. So he's there. And as you're getting Jack Perry, he's getting his character going.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It's not a good time right now, but it's like once they both establish each other even harder on their own, I think then if they did bring them back when they're both at their heel peak, it actually could work because now you believe them as individual characters. And but I know your point with Luchasaurus. I like them as the big monster. I like his character. I like how they're using him. I kind of like. So I know we're jumping over the collision, but anyways, yes. So Jack Perry, I like he's getting better every week. If they line him up with his girlfriend there, that'd be pretty. And they're both wearing like the leather, the black, and the sunglasses. That would be a good next step for sure.
And she can be such a bitch, and I think this is where she needs to be because you're comfortable around your partner. You're comfortable. You can do the over-the-line stuff because they have your back and you're right next to them. They both need this. I'm just saying it. As for Danny G is fine. Garcia's going to be dancing his way all over those rings. He puts on hella clinic matches. The Buffalo Boy is safe.
So do you think, because I was wondering, I'm sure a lot of people kind of were hoping or wondering what he was going to say. Because when he was like, I gave up this and against, I gave up basically with my legends. And I was like, is he almost saying like, I gave up the BCC, for this, but I believed in you, and he's saying it when he walked back to the back, he like got his shirt off, almost like get rid of this sports entertainer. I'm going back to professional wrestling. So, his dance, he's got the dance is ridiculous.
Here's the real question, Matt. Here is the most important question. Was he more over as the wrestler, or do people like the Dance Danny dance?
They like the dance. It's a personality for sure. He looked really generic.
He's got character now.
He does, because he looked skinny. He looked kind of runchy. Because I remember when he came on, I forget who I was watching, and a casual person who like knew wrestling kind of looked at him like, who's this guy? How did he look? Because he looked like a little indie guy. Like, and again, until I knew him, and I was like, well, no, he's actually a very good wrestler. But he had that generic skinny look. So this is actually a look, and he's put on some weight. He's grown his hair a bit. I like the black, the leather pants and the chains. I like all that because it kind of plays to that the Gino, the Gino character.
Yeah.
And the dance, like who would have thought friggin' dance in your face would go off, right?
And Forbidden Door really opened that capsule when he did the one to the one, did the one to the other, did the one gets knocked. We were losing it there. So I mean, I've known of Danny for a while now. Pre-accident, he would do a lot of smash shows up in Toronto. And he was bloody good. Like,
what's the accident? What accident? I didn't.
Okay, so the Buffalo Boys are a whole squadron of Kevin Bennett, Puff, Danny Garcia, and Kevin Blackwood. They're all trained in Buffalo by Pepper Park's Blade, right?
Mm.
So they went driving and they hit black ice in December. You know what our roads are like. Imagine them right by the water line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they went and put themselves into a pole.
Wow.
He ended up having his whole leg having to be restructured. I think Kevin Bennett was the only one that really didn't have serious injuries, but Garcia was told he will never walk, never mind wrestle.
Wow.
Yeah. When this happened, everybody in the community supported them. The Buffalo Boys, they set up the charity group, the GoFundMe, and people like Jericho. Punk actually did. He posted about it. He said, anyone that's a friend of Andy Complains, who is Butcher, is a friend of mine, and he's from that same school. So the connection there. Jericho saw about it immediately, threw money, and then put them over on the podcast. But it was something that had to be done. It was great that the outcry came, but that made Danny Garcia that much stronger to come back better. And then they started booking through Pepper down in when they were doing the daily shows. And all of the boys have been on TV since. Like, you've seen Kevin Bennett, the big, fat, funny dancing guy in the back of the Adam Cole workout room. Adam Cole and MJF were doing that segment. In the background, that fat guy, that's Puff. He's part of that group. Funny, hilarious in ring, very personable, smiley dancing. Everybody loves him. But the whole crew of them, Kevin Blackwood absolutely destroyed the PWG. He's an awesome entertainer too. You've seen him early on. He'd have like fluorescent hair and tattoos. He had his whole arms covered in black. But all of the guys got back and are back wrestling. Kevin Bennett's the champion of Smash Wrestling right now. So it's a good look. Danny Garcia, we knew he was going to be something. Yeah, it just the right eye had to see it.
Yeah, he's he's decent on the mic. He's got a good voice. And I think what put him on the map is when he had a few of those matches where he was just giving her, and and he was holding out, like his submissions were on him, and people were like, "Wow, this kid's tough, man."
Technical,
and he knows his end. And to see them like put him with, you gotta love it. I'm sure guys like Brian Danielson. Like, you know what? Get me in the ring with this guy.
Yeah,
like they just love guys like that, young guys who are technical. I'm sure like I can see why these big talents would want to work with them, and obviously why Jericho's like, I'll put him in my little stable here, which is really cool. This is great. Like seeing a guy that you think looks so not your typical character or typical size. Comes out with a great character, gets over the crowd, comes with a little dance, and is so over, right? So I think there's a lot of promise for him for sure. I think I can see him as a TNT champion or was it North American
International?
Champion?
Yeah,
International.
Absolutely. Put the belts on him. Give him the FTW.
Yeah.
You can make that look good. So pretty much if we get back to things, Danny Garcia's safe. Sammy Guevara, he ain't going nowhere. Love Sammy. Have a huge story with Sammy, but we'll save that for another day. In the end, Jericho's left stranded, and he walks up to Don Callis and says, I'll have your answer next week. What do you think's happening there?
You know what? I think he's going to turn him down. I think he's going to do, because it's, you can see, you know, he still has that look like, I'll have your answer next week. And Don's all excited because Don's like, yes, it's all, you know, it's in the bag. But I think there's going to be a twist because everyone's like, boo, Jericho, and he walks away. And I think he's going to say no. And I think everyone's going to beat the crap out of Jericho.
Who's everyone?
Is it Kanishke or
Yeah.
he's gonna get beat down? Yeah, Kanishka.
Okay, so he's talking about a family. I want to put this idea out to you. He's talking about a family. We heard rumors, little whispering in the wind, that Jericho and Will Ospreay could happen at Wembley. So here's Callis, already got the connection to Will Ospreay going over to Kenny, right? Then you grab Aussie Open, who are also part of the United Empire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will just lost in the G1. I'll talk about that match later. That kind of puts him on the outs for New Japan. So this makes a perfect entry to give him a couple shows with the boys here. Make that the Don Callis family. So tomorrow night, obviously this will air on Saturday, so it will have already happened. But Dynamite, you see Will Ospreay at one point in that show. That's my take.
You know, I mean, I think it'd be a real. I think that should be cool. I like Don Callis. Like he's that throwback, the manager. He has so much heat. I mean, the guy can't even get a word out edgewise. Everyone's just booing so loud. Like that is like the most heat you could ask for. So I like him as a mouthpiece. Is he, you know, with Jericho, that kind of like, I like that Winnipeg connection. They're both that. They both can be conniving, both great on the mic. But I almost think that it's Jericho has to be the most, whatever he's doing, Jericho has to be his mouthpiece, like his groups he's had. Or Don Callis, I think it might be too much. Like they're too much of the same, too much vying for the mic time, too much of the heel of the group. So that's why I kind of think that something's going to go sideways where Jericho's not. They're going to set him up for one of the babyface match for going into London, and he's going to be the babyface for it. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen.
And I want to think about that though. You send Will Ospreay to Wembley as heel, and you send Jericho to Wembley as face. That's interesting. What if they put the title on the line?
Yeah, because then he just changed it to the UK title. I saw him, he changed the belt, which is awesome. I love it anyway. I'd rather see it as a UK belt against the US Championship. That'd be great. Ospreay versus Jericho. Jericho's from Canada, and then he's from UK or East England, from England.
What would the crowd be like?
Oh my God, have it for the UK Championship. And then New Japan, that would be hey, there we go. I think that's
the right direction.
Yeah.
The wrong direction is the Bucks. We go on to the next match, which was Bucks versus Hardys. I've been having a conversation with a group, and they're casual comeback fans. They've been gone for a while. I kind of pushed a couple into it. My other buddy's into it now. So none of them like the Bucks. You never really saw the Bucks before AEW. Is that correct?
No, I just saw some Ring of Honor stuff. I saw him when he was starting to get big with Cody, I think, and they were their little thing.
You were aware.
Yeah, so I started seeing because they started, especially when they started AEW, and people were like, "Who are these guys?" And then I started seeing the clips come out of their account that led up to where they are today.
So when we talk about this, my thought process is there hasn't been a real banger of a match, history-making style Young Bucks match since AEW began. I would like to say the first Bucks versus Lucha Bros ladder match was definitely up there. But I kind of put the idea that they're phoning it in. Now, with everything they've done for the business, I feel they have that right. I don't look at the idea of should they still be performing at that level? I don't think so. I think they should be allowed to phone it in. They created a damn company. They changed the game when it comes to merch. They absolutely took a backslap to WWE's offers, not once, but twice. Leave the Bucks alone and let them be the Bucks.
They will be. I bet they will be WWE bound at some point, for sure. Line with Cody. Oh my God,
that's what we thought would happen, but they re-signed. The next time there's a conversation, they're not. They're gonna end up retiring.
So, how long? Do you know how long the contract's for?
I would like to say that this is a 3 to 4 year term. That's the way it made sense to me. I might be wrong on that, but it just makes sense. 3 to 4 year bridge hockey term, right? Because at the end of it, they've made, and the comment was, this is the highest paid tag team of all time with this contract.
Oh, yeah?
That's what they said.
Well, you believe what Mark Henry said? Mark Henry did an interview where he said yesterday that it was 4 years.
Say it again, Justin. Your mic's a little blurry.
You know, so Mark Henry did an interview yesterday where he said it was 4 years.
See? Okay, so exactly like I said, 3 to 4, but it's 4. That's confirmed from our insider, Justin Blairy Mike. I go to the other tag in this match, and it's Matt and Jeff. And I made this comment in the past. Every time Jeff's in the ring, I'm worried. I don't know why. I trust him. He should be able to wrestle. He's been there for that many years. I've seen what he can do. I understand he's had a hard time. I'm all about second chances, third chances, fourth chances. Just do it right, you know? This happened in this match again.
Yeah.
But it was Matt and Jeff's timing that was off. Every tandem move was sloppy botchy. And not until Jeff makes the hot tag or Matt makes the tag to bring Jeff in on the hot tag, Jeff's going in solo and all of his moves look crisp. I'm like, wait a second. Jeff still got it. He's going. And he went for the rest of the match. So I don't know what's going on with his wrestling, because that's all the question is. You're with the Bucks in the ring. You should be able to at least really get the people's eyes on it. But we knew what to expect. So I'm sorry. My eyes looked away when I didn't want to look anymore.
Yeah. Sometimes I almost feel like Jeff almost has like butter on the bottom of his shoes. Like the way he seems to slip around on the ropes and stuff now feels like it's like, I don't see anyone slipping like that. He slips. I don't know if he's just trying to go too quick. His timing's off. Is he not 100% like mentally there? Is he in pain? I mean,
he's in pain.
Like,
that's a guarantee.
He's definitely in pain.
Right. So I know, and that's part of your like, and I see Matt's starting to look pretty stiff when he walks. Like I know they can still take their bumps. They can still do it, but you can see again, like they're like our age, right? So I don't know how about you guys, but I think they're mid 40s, I think, right? So, and these guys they're still jumping off. Like, I get it. I'd be broken back, and they're still at it. But yeah, I know what you mean. How long do you think this run's gonna go? Like, is this kind of like a kind of giving a farewell, kind of a tribute, its respect for the Hardys, give them a little bit of a run, fan favorites?
I feel a Wembley goodbye match would have been perfect. I figure a 4-way tag match would have been brilliant, because then you're limiting time And if you bring in professionals like the Bucks and FTR, obviously you can pick any tag team. I mean, I think the Acclaimed should be there, most honestly. But a retirement match, 4-way, if not, leave them out. I mean, we've seen the Jeff and Matt at their best with 3 teams in a match.
Hey, I mean, yeah, because it's kind of be a bit fitting. They had their return to a major organization. Remember at WrestleMania when they came back and won the titles? That was a massive pop, and they came up, I think, from Ring of Honor.
Yep. The night before, pausing, in a ladder war match with the Young Bucks. The night before.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Double duty. You want to talk about keeping a secret. I had bailed on WrestleMania. I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No, I was going to say, like to your point, if it's fitting, if it was a retirement or leaving or farewell match, they came in at one of the biggest shows in their entire lives, and if they could leave at one of the biggest shows in their entire life, and kind of that'd be kind of fitting, kind of coming in like the biggest pop, and then you leave on the biggest pop, right? So that could be fitting. That would be kind of a Cinderella story, but again, people's egos, and everyone wants to keep working, and so it's so I don't think it would quite work out.
There's also a big obstacle in making that happen, where there's one of those two men cannot cross the border.
Oh.
Hey, we saw Nick Gage in Toronto. Anyone can get over the damn border.
We didn't see Nick Gage in Toronto. He was in Montreal. We didn't see him.
He was in Montreal. We didn't see him. That's right.
I know. I don't want to talk about it.
My bad, but he still got over the border. My point is, we let anyone in.
Interesting.
So as we look at the match, in the end, we knew Bucks are going to win because they have the match against FTR. We get a face-off, which just pointing at the WrestleMania sign, moving on.
Yeah.
And then we get to the boy we've been already talking about, the biggest douchebag in wrestling, and I love him for it. This is his best showing so far since the turn. The match, okay, first of all, I called RVD thick. I was wrong. He's even posted pictures. The guy is still fit.
Yeah.
This match, he threw the big spinning back kick immediately. I'm like, does yoga really work like that? Because now I'm hitting that downward dog, and I'm like, Jesus, this guy knew what was going on before time.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about the video that he's showing and he's actually doing the splits? And he's actually talking about it? I'm like, yeah. You know what? I think when you guys brought it up about, hey, it's potentially RVD, and I was like, yeah, I know he's still wrestling, but
yes, you weren't sure if he could still go. What is your opinion now?
He, for his age and his timings, his ability, his agility, that is because of his craft. I'm sure his regime is stretching, right? Because that's saving him. I'm sure, guaranteed. I mean, God, how old is he? He's got to be close to 50 or over 50, and he's doing the splits. Like that is dedication, and that's the only reason why he can still do what he does, because of that extra work he puts in to take care of himself. And he's always been like that, right? Yeah.
He knows the key. Here in Canada, it's legal everywhere.
Yeah.
He likes Canada.
Yeah, he's a big proponent of that, isn't he?
Oh, he's always been. I remember he had a slogan he was going with, "What have you been smoking?" They cut that right away when they realized. I had a Rolling Thunder shirt, and on the back it said, "That's how I roll." And I think they just snuck that one in. But yes, I thought he had a great showing. Most important part of this match? Justin, what was the most important part of this match?
What was the most important part of the match?
It was the gear.
Oh, yes, it was the gear. Yeah.
It was the gear. Jack Perry came out in Jerry Lynn tights. They were excellent.
Oh, was it his? I was wondering. I didn't get the.
They were the same type of tights that Jerry Lynn wore against RVD.
Man,
So,
if he's going to start doing that, almost like mocking, I love that. I mean, that's the Rick Rude with the spray paint of the face on the trunks.
Oh yes.
Like if he's going to do that, I love that kind of stuff. I love that mimicking. So if that's going to be his shtick, I'm all for it.
Just wait till he comes out in the singlet and the towel and takes his foot again.
Oh, the towel over the head, and he comes up. Oh yes.
That'd be amazing.
I just wait for the bombs to drop, and he comes out in the camo tights, and then Bully's coming.
That's true.
It makes me excited to see what happens next. This is something I'm excited to watch.
You know what? It's definitely improved from the first week when he came out, when we were like, this is not sure. But again, it feels like he's definitely finding his character. So it's good for him.
So we follow Jack Perry retaining the FTW championship, laying on the ramp. He looks great. The music's blaring. I'm into the whole aesthetic. All of the visuals look great to me. I think we're getting there. I don't think we're there yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
And keep this going. Another thing I want to keep going forever is our next segment, Adam Cole, MJF. My God, it's fun. Dodgeball had everybody in my house in tears. I like seeing kids get hit by dodgeballs. Come on, it's there's nothing better in the world. Maybe kids falling off bikes, but
you know what? What I like about this scenario is, when you see Adam Cole again, because everyone knows him, he still has that heel side of him. But when he's like, "Hey, you can't do that," and then the kid hits him, and he's like, "Just one more game," and then he does that anti-hero type moves, almost like, "Hey," you know what I mean? So and then he's just like MJF, like, "Let's do it," and they go to both go at it with the kids. But I thought that was actually pretty entertaining.
The Hogan line had me roaring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was good.
The Hogan line.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. The shout out of all the tag teams announcing that we have another match. They're going to double duty that night. All right. More. I want to see it. They've got a story planned. Something's happening.
Yeah. There's going to be heat. Heat's going to be at that match that's going to then lead to the champ. Like something's going to go off. They're going to be almost like at each other's throats. And that way there's actually going to be heat for that main event when they actually fight. Something's going to happen. I think obviously, why would you do this match if you weren't using it to create an emotion for the for the championship match, right?
But then at the exact same time, we're all waiting for which one's going to turn.
Yeah.
But we want to keep watching. So I wonder if they give us a legit tag and they win those titles and they keep that stuff together and they're still bickering amongst each other over the championship. Could that work? I don't know. You got to get the championship out of the situation for it to work. But then I'm like, all right, well, if it's all about the world title, this looks good.
It would actually be interesting because remember that then that would be the whole thing. Just say if they did win the championship, but then there was like that, like I said, bad blood, one of them turns, but they still have to be partners. Kind of like how it started, right? There was a tag team little tournament. They were put together as partners. They're like, I'm not doing this guy. They hated each other. They had to work together. So maybe it could be, maybe they do win the championship, the tag titles. That would be interesting. Or it could be used.
Killed a dog.
So I don't know what anyone's ROH viewing habits are. If they won the tag titles, would that get you to watch ROH on a more regular basis if you're not watching? I think it actually would.
It's non-ad revenue TV stream. Neither of them. Like, I don't think if the announcement after Wembley and after All Out and they say we're a go on stream and we're using ROH as our free product, sure, as a push, but at the same time, you're not taking them off of Aussie Open yet. You put them out with Callis and Takeshita and Osprey. They have titles. That's visuals, man. Aesthetics matter. You got to see it.
Oh, that the Callis family. I think like the 4 guys. My God, if that actually, those guys like that, if he actually makes that little family like you mentioned,
yep,
it's pretty deadly.
But even if they just go, the Callis is the United Empire, and then he starts going back to Japan and speaking for Will and running that whole amok, you're only going to lead to what we're all waiting for, which is the next Kenny match. You talk Winnipeg, who better than Kenny to step in the room when it's Jericho, Osprey, Callis? It's all good stuff. Maybe they needed him to be a face to get him to this point. Then you see a Will Osprey, Tanosuke Takeshita versus Jericho Kenny, which is a match oh my God, give me that shirt.
Yeah, that actually would be God, there's so many combinations.
Yeah.
There's so many storylines, so many guys you can put together.
Yes.
And that actually would work. And like I said, we just talked about like 3 matches right there. You're like, oh my God, put him with him. And oh my God, be great. Right. So AEW is really good at, I think, right now of the options.
Yes, options. That's the right word.
And the guys complement each other. You're like, ooh, conflicting styles, but also it almost make it a special match. Right. So there's so many styles going on. So it's really interesting, right? Like you even had some of this, and then throw Samoa Joe's, he's on obviously Collision, but like throw his style into it. There's so many styles right now in AEW.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they said they would promise us, is a smorgasbord of wrestling. This is why I love AEW so much, is because I get my Japanese, I get my Attitude Era, I get my Luchador, I get a little bit of everything, a UK strong style. Like I get a piece of everything in every direction. A little old school ROH, a little ECW. I mean, we're getting everything that's possibly out there.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. Because you've got all the blood and guts from ECW, right? So yeah,
and the ECWs.
Man, yeah, you just throw all that into it. Yeah, you're right, and that's what's making it appealing, really appealing. Anyways, yeah. So good. It was a good show.
I made this call, and I'm still standing by it. Seeing the Kingdom with Roddy at the end of the MJF Adam Cole segment really got to me. He's being a jealous little bitch. It was good. It was good stuff. But his podcast on Unrestricted, he all out cries on this. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen, because he has passion. And I think we're going to get a different Roddy coming, where in ring he's violent as hell, and him with the Kingdom works, but he's always been a second lieutenant. He's always been okay. No, at the end of WWE, he had his own crew, but that didn't work. But as a second lieutenant, he's always been top guy. With the Kingdom, I'm just saying it. By the end of Wembley, the 4 of them are together, and he's putting over his original bros.
Yeah, interesting. What I liked when Roddy he did the girlfriend thing. Are you gonna let him talk to me like that?
Yes. I don't think we're giving Roddy enough credit for the shit he's doing on camera, because he's making this situation look great.
Yeah, he is.
I was so angry at the whole no! And then I realized, you know what? That's not him. He's playing. He's having fun with this. This is good stuff. And then the jealous girlfriend stuff. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, and it does make it better knowing that they actually are friends and were friends and partners. So when they're actually talking, it's kind of like, it is that kind of jealous girlfriend, but there's a lot of history there. So there's a fan that gets you into that story, because you're like, wow, but they are school friends, and who knows what's he gonna do? We've seen him fight before, we've seen him tag before, we've seen him as groove, right? So that's a good set. I think that's going to be an entertaining storyline.
We get a little a segment piece here, which really got Justin going. What was that part? Was it a little song that he might have mentioned, Justin? Did the crowd sing? I'm speaking in riddles because shake it off, shake it off.
Oh,
Justin
yeah.
here is the biggest Swiftie.
Who is?
Justin.
Shake it off, you basic bitch, whatever.
Yeah, he's a big Swiftie, and when they started chanting "Shake It Off," he started sending the memes. It was good. It was good. In the end, they separate, they go hug it out, they move on. All right, so more's coming. Then we go to the BCC tag match with the Lucha Bros. Intense.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what to expect. I mean, we've been seeing Mox on Penta nonstop. I like it. I like the mask work. I liked it. It was what it was. Then we go for some Kenny Omega. Then we hit Swerve, which is funny. We had everything about Swerve, Darby, and the boys, but then we get a little bit in this episode. It was almost overkill last episode, but I was for it. Maybe it was just based on the people that weren't booked on the show. But then the lights go black, and guess who's back? It's Sting! Justin, what were you saying when Sting arrived?
So I knew it was like, you knew the lights went out at first, you knew it was Sting, but then the lights went out far longer than what I thought they were. So I'm like, okay, there's no way it's Sting. They're waiting this long for the lights to be out. And that was Sting. So I was kind of disappointed that it was Sting.
Well, you needed to get to the ramp. That took him 45 minutes. Leave the guy alone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's filmed to something good. I mean, they're going to have a coffin match. So, you know, Sting's going to do his quarterly New Jack tribute, dive off some shit. And it's going to be great.
So we do get Sting and Darby versus our boy AR Fox and Swerve, which is going to be good. It's going to be a good match.
It will be. Yeah.
AR will be able to make Sting look great.
Yeah.
And I've already said it. I really think he's the best seller in the game in Swerve. So I expect good things.
Yeah. Sting's going to do a couple of spots.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for sure. But you're right. Those guys are going to make him look like $1 million.
Yeah.
But you need to. So, and I'm fine with that. You know, the guy's a legend. So,
what do you think they're going to respond to in Wembley? Like, every time Sting touches somebody, I feel like they're going to go like it's one of the most important football games of the year. I think they're going to be loud and chanty.
Yeah, because when was the last time Sting was over in the UK? Right? So
I don't even know. I don't even know if that's actually really been a run for him.
This is, to me,
it'd probably be Impact, I would imagine, back in the Impact days. There was a while when TNA was going over there regularly.
He's gonna get an Undertaker pop. I think this is the Undertaker moment, right? It's the legs and then laying it up, and the mysterious character and the slow walk. I think they're gonna do a big one, like give him the Undertaker treatment. I think it'd be justified because, again, like a show this big, it needs those theatrics, and his entrance provides those theatrics.
Yes, you're absolutely right on all accords. One thing that we weren't right about is how to book women. Enough eyes on this and enough conversation caused Tony to say, okay, let's change that. We got another women's main event. What? That's a back-to-back? And I wasn't even mad because part of me was really wanting Anna Jay to win this for some reason. There was part of me that was like, I think it's time to push her, but in the direction of Jungle Boy. Jack Perry should have that right. So it was a decent match. Sheeta is awesome. Sheeta's awesome. Sheeta's awesome. Confusion about this is you got Toni Storm already made it. She gets a bye. But the champ doesn't get a bye?
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. I know they explained it that she has an automatic rematch clause, which is one of my least favorite booking tropes, period. Any company. But yeah, it makes no sense that she got a bye and the champion has to have a match.
But she hasn't been back long. Like I think like Toni Storm has been almost like that workhorse. You know what I mean? Like she's fine, right? So we know what she can do. We know she's been the champion, but Sheeta kind of just like won the championship. So like it hasn't been a long string of like get to it, right? So I kind of feel like they needed to have push her, like, get her over as a champion in this match as opposed to bye, right? So that's my thinking behind it, right? Toni Storm, we see her every single week. We know she can do, she can go. She's put her money, like she's put her time in, right? But we need more time with the champion.
Can we blame that on commentary? Why didn't they talk about that? They just announced that there's a tournament going on. They didn't really break it down to the point that of why Sheeta gets a match. Maybe Excalibur talked so fast that we missed it and he just said because, exactly like you said. But that's us trying to figure something out that they should have explained in better terms. Maybe a graphic on Twitter or Threads or whatever the hell Tony Khan's playing on, but whatever.
Yeah, because what could you possibly tell the fans? That would be the reason. Because you can't really say, "Hey, we want more FaceTime."
I agree with your statement, though. If he just said that, Sheeta's only had one defense, and it felt pertinent that she has another defense before she enters a tournament of this magnitude. I don't care. They could have said something. Exactly like you said made sense, but it wasn't said. Justin was popping off at me immediately.
And the commentary is usually pretty good at doing stuff like that. If there's something that doesn't make sense, they usually do come up with something to kind of make it that kind of offer something and not.
Well, it was at least a women's match that got some coverage. We wanted the women to get over because they are good. I want to speak to the idea of what you just said, workhorse in Toni Storm. This championship reign was actually a pretty good run for her. I enjoyed her character building. I think she's one hell of a competitor, and the Baby Spice buns always get me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all right with her getting a bye because I want to see more. Sheeta, she's the only one of the Joshis that has really translated into America properly. I mean, Maki Ito is definitely somebody everybody loves, but we didn't get enough exposure. The Magic Girl, we all love her in this house, but we didn't get enough exposure. But nonetheless, that was Dynamite. We go to Dynamite 2.0, which was a delicious little segment. You got Darby versus Brian Cage. Connor's not here to put over Cage, so we move on. Of course, we got Darby winning that. Surprised the shit out of me because Cage looked great. Then we go towards Britt Baker, DMD, talking about her match. Move on to an actual very entertaining match from Johnny TV, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Hennigan against Justin's daughter's favorite, Orange Cassidy. Decent enough match. But the match that I really enjoyed, and I know Justin enjoyed, was the Aussie Open versus the Outrunners.
The Outrunners, yes. Love the Outrunners.
You recently saw the Outrunners at ESW here in Buffalo area, right?
Yes. They're really, I really like them. They're old school. And
Funky.
I think And I know that I know they were doing dark before at Universal. You can have those guys show up on Ring of Honor for a while.
Yes. Or send them to Collision to work with Punk.
They're really good. They're very entertaining.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was happy to see them back. They're this 80s rock band style, old school, California styled wrestler. Great gimmick. Aussie Open, look deadly. It's great to have Mark Davis back. I love them, so I'm going for it. They announced a match coming up for Dynamite this week, which is Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre match. Okay, is anyone else see it? And I was like, why aren't they keeping a match like that for when in Texas? It's like here we're having a Texas Chainsaw Massacre match in Tennessee, or where I think it's Tennessee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like when they do the names based on where they are. Don't give me a London Backstreet Brawl match when in England, but you're doing it in Brantford, Ontario, right? Like, don't, keep the, for what it is. And
I agree. I would love to see more playing to the market. I want to know what the hell. Oh, okay. So what it is it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game, and they're partnered up. So it's a gimmick for their gimmick. I didn't know that.
I figured it must be because they were using its exact logo. So I'm like, it's good. It's got to be some kind of cross promotion, right? You're not going to use the exact graphic logo if you're not, somehow, working together.
And if you believe what Jeff Jarrett says on his podcast, there will be an appearance by Leatherface.
Oh, so you're saying Jessica Biel will be the referee in this match? I'm in.
Yes, but no Beverly Mitchell. We already went over it.
So
no Beverly Mitchell. Seventh Heaven. So that's kind of fun. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know what to think of it because I don't know what it is. But I mean, Jeff Jarrett, come on, the guy's an entertainer. Let him entertain.
Yeah. Is there a couple of guys here now that you're kind of getting tired of? Like, I don't know. I do like Orange Cassidy, but I'm kind of ready to give him a break.
So this is an issue I have with a lot of conversations. Recognizing the room. Like, we got a phrase, read the room. He's not for us. He's not there for us. And if you can see him as entertaining, but if you see the look on my son, Justin's daughter's eyes when Orange Cassidy's in the ring, there's something else there. And as much as I disagree with how, I think he's brilliant in the ring, and this has been one of the coolest runs with a title. He's put prestige all over this title. He's wrestling every week. He's got a ton of injuries. I mean, this has been good stuff, but he's not for us.
He's kind of like the same category as Darby Allin, right? He's not necessarily for us. Like, we appreciate him, but
yes,
he's kind of those guys. They're meant for a demographic. I'm kind of getting tired of both of them because I kind of feel they're in there. I know those guys are the pillars, two pillars,
yes,
for sure.
But
I'm like, okay, I'm good to move on with the characters, or maybe a character change, or something.
I can also say they're definitely not peg holders. Moving on to the main event. We got Saraya versus Sky Blue. I'm going to go back to my son on this one. He turns to me and he says, "Dad, I like Sky Blue." I go, "Oh yeah? Why?" "Because she's pretty."
Yeah.
That's my boy. Got a boy. She is going to be something fierce. It's perfect that she's as young as she is because there's talent coming up to play in that age range. I like her. Obviously, we knew Saraya is going to be at Wembley because you don't have Hayter there. You have to have her. So I think the crowd is going to give a fun response with that one. But as I talk about this is the second women's match that was a main event. They're listening, and you know what? This tournament makes sense as prestigious now. Don't put them back at, what's our time, Justin?
9:20.
That's right. 9:20, we get the women's match, and it's over after commercial break. Let's go. But now we're seeing them at the main event. If people are checking out, that's on them. I'm not, because both of those matches were worth watching. But from there, we wrap up Rampage. As we do, we start to step into territory. I've been leaving breadcrumbs all show. We're going to keep going with that. In comes absolute Ricky Starks. He's saying that he's going to be a manager. Pretty good promo. I don't think the face turn was necessary. He's no different than he was right before he turned face. I think just leave him alone. He hasn't figured it out. Leave him heel.
A manager. What is it? Yeah, I missed the that.
So he has been suspended for 30 days due to the attack on last week's Dragon. Right? Beating him with a belt. And that was okay. Then he says, I can be a manager. So we'll see what they do with that. I don't know, but it could be something.
I'm assuming he's going to be Samoa Joe's manager.
This is my thinking face, Drummond. I'm booking 3 weeks out. That's actually not a bad idea. Samoa Joe managed by Ricky Starks.
No.
Now, we could understand that Punk and Samoa Joe may happen at Wembley. It has not been announced. It has not been given a graphic. It's not on any of the websites leading to Wembley. I hope after we get to it. We follow that with the Acclaimed and Max Caster, as Max Caster and Anthony Bowens take on the Iron Savages, Bronson and Boulder. I like them more as Bear Country. They were a lot more redneck and fun. I've seen this Jim Rat styled character too many times. Justin, do you remember the Smash shows? What were they called?
Oh, Hawaii Beefcake.
Yeah, Halal Beefcake. Yes, nailed it. Thank you for being there. The two of them were so entertaining, and it was all about the protein shakes, and it was all about doing the workouts, not missing leg day. Okay, we've had this gimmick in every aspect. Bear Country wasn't. I don't know what the Iron Savage's name means. I don't know if I'm not watching ROH. Is there more out there, or did they just get repackaged?
I think that goes back to the Universal taping. I'm pretty sure that they changed that. That's a dark thing.
Well, either way, they took a Shiver Me Timbers, and we love you, Billy. Scissor me, Daddy-O. We follow with the most entertaining thing in Collision. The Bullet Club Gold. The Bang Bang Gang. Guns up. What a segment. Every single time you see them. They are entertaining. All four have hit. I'm good with the Ass Boys. Absolutely good with them being there. They announced that on Dynamite they'll be fighting the Bucks as the best brothers tag team. But they're part of Bullet Club Gold. Could Jay White be involved in a Bucks match? Could this open the door? Bullet Club versus the Elite. There's a lot to think about on that. I like it.
Yeah, I like those guys. I like the four of them together.
Yes.
I think they're a good, entertaining team. They're funny. They're good wrestlers. They can sell. They have a bit of that 80s kind of charm about them. the way the 80s and 90s, right? There's that charisma. They're pretty entertaining, right? So, which is great. It's kind of, they have a little bit of DX in them. They try off color a little bit, a little crazy, right? So, and that's the kind of stuff that got DX big. They just did some random shit. And they're like, oh my God, are we going to get in trouble for this? I don't know. Let's see. So I kind of feel that there's that entertaining aspect to it. They're just kind of letting them do some funny things. Yeah.
Rock hard. That was the part I was dying when they put out their fists. It's rock hard. I love him. He's my guy.
The cutout. I love the cutout.
Oh yeah, the cutout stays. Leave
the
cutout.
Hit the number 7 in his hand.
It's like China. If we're comparing them to DX, make that China.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's funny.
We talk a lot about the women, and we get another match. I actually can talk about this match. We had Willow and Statlander and Diamante and Mercedes Martinez. Two pieces of this match came up. One of my favorite spots, my son training, I told him he really needs to learn it because he's 7 years old in a room full of 12 to 15-year-olds. I says, the Paradise Lock is entertaining. You cross the arms, lock the feet, and then they can't get out. Sonata. I'll talk about him in a second. Sonata used to do this in New Japan, and they would build it like it was the most horrific lock possible. And the only way to get out of the Paradise Lock is to be kicked out in the ass. We see it in the match. The Paradise gets put on by Martinez and Diamante, and they double drop kick her ass. I marked out. I love seeing the Paradise Lock. It's silly. It's funny. You just stand up. But it's good. The second part I want to mention is I think we need to have the faction here. Mercedes Martinez is the head. Diamante and her girlfriend in real life, Kira Hogan, being the muscle tag team. You mentioned tag teams. Matt, when you mentioned tag teams, I shot it down and I thought about the tag titles and I'm looking at it and I'm like, put Kira and Diamante together. We haven't seen it. Jade made a comment about it. They're a couple. Let them have some tag team matches. I think it would look good. And Mercedes gets an instant credibility leading a group.
I still think the ladies tag titles is a logical next step for the evolution of the women's divisions. You need it. Again, add the characters together. If two guys are struggling, what do? You put them together, see if they can come with something, come up with a new name, brand, energy, persona. You have all brand new characters to deal with, right? So why wouldn't you?
What is it about Willow Nightingale that you can't help but love? Is it the idea that in ring she pulls back on history and actually makes it obvious that she was a wrestling kid, a wrestling nerd? Is it the Bayley-esque hug and love? Is it the fact that she's got respect for everyone? I don't know, but I'm telling you, I don't think Willow Nightingale goes anywhere for a long time.
I think it's the same thing as Orange Cassidy. I think it's deeper than just a wrestler. I think
deeper than the gimmick.
Yeah, it's going to be a year from now. You're going to see little girls in the front row that are just smiling at the sight of her.
Yes, and me.
Definitely me.
She has kind of a hacksaw Jim Duggan love, like the Pharaoh comes out and everyone's like, oh, right? She looks like a giant Care Bear, right? And
yes, a Care Bear.
Right.
I love it.
Right? She's, and I think she appeals that she's colorful, she's big, she's boisterous, she's super nice, but she can still go. But no matter what, she never changes her character. She never goes evil, never crosses the line, but she will always go the distance with anybody. So which is good, right? So that's what people want to see. If you're going to be a big teddy bear, as long as you can still, and also because they need someone like her, because you always need big girls, just like you need big guys. The guys, because they can either make it like look great, or the fact that they can beat you helps like the little guys, right? They can sell differently, right? When you're dealing, you need some big ones. Nyla Rose was supposed to be that from the get-go. For some reason, it just hasn't worked. I mean, I don't mind her. I don't mind Nyla Rose. I don't know what it is.
No, there's a difference there, and it's based on wrestling. You look at the size of the girl, the wrestling is what's different. Willow against Julia was excellent. The Mercedes spinoff to put the title on her was awesome. She's getting all of these accolades in these matches. I think it was a bunkhouse brawl match where she showed up with Ruby Soho in Dudley Boys gear. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, the camo. That was good.
I haven't, to date, since she's got to AEW, I haven't seen her in a spot that I was like, Riho, I can change the channel.
Yeah.
So let's put the camera on her full time. Let's get her into some storylines. Let's let her establish herself, because there's something there.
I always thought like her and Sky Blue,
Yeah,
that were a good team, right? They're kind of both bubbly. They're
Yeah.
both getting the fan favorites. They both have like little, they've got some body parts that are a little bit boisterous, that are make it appealing.
call them
and it's
boobs
just-
and butts. Let's go.
Yeah. So I think that's a good tag team.
Here's a girl who has boobs and butts. Toni Storm. She cuts a promo here, and she is funny. This character she's pulling, I saw it in the press after she won the title, and she had me rolling with the slap your tits off. Like, this is good character. This was nothing that she was showing in WWE.
No.
This is good character work.
Yeah, it's too bad. I think today's WWE, they would have used her better now.
Yeah. No. We'll see.
Maybe I would think, because we can see how she is in AEW, that we'd always think, like, of course they would use her, but it doesn't always translate.
That's exactly it. Is I can't figure out if it would translate. I mean, the women at the top are the women at the top. Good luck getting a spot.
Well, remember she
That's
did
how I
have
feel about WWE right now.
Do you remember, like, it was crazy how they gave her like a championship shot and then let her go the next day?
Yeah.
That to me was like, was that
Pass
just
backwards?
Was that like, okay, you gave your championship and as a hey, thank you, we gave you a championship on the way out? Because it didn't mean anything. Why are you giving someone a championship match if the plan was to let them go anyways? Because there's no future in it.
Nope. It was definitely a really stupid move on Fed. I'm very happy of the move because she's done great things since she's got here. I think she's responsible for Hayter actually being able to show how good she can wrestle. The crowd was behind her, but it wasn't until Hayter and Storm #1 that we actually saw the power of Hayter.
Yeah, I like Hayter. Hayter's also, she's a good one. She's got to be at Wembley too. I mean, you can't have.
No, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Her injury has her out past. And it's disappointing, and I know it's breaking her heart, just like Forbidden Door for Bryan Danielson #1. But injuries happen. This is the game. It's not friggin' ballet.
You know what? They would probably use her. What is her? Because again, she could be, if she's just injured, she could do all that press work and all that stuff. Because again, she's
No, and could we see a run-in during that match when they start double teaming Britt? She doesn't have to do anything. Just come in, get the pop. The crowd loves it. She hits with a cane. Whatever.
Maybe she goes to the same lawyer that Ricky Stark went to and gets a manager like this.
Yeah, imagine her managing Brett. I don't know who this guy's manager is, but I haven't seen him forever. Andrew Everett actually makes an appearance on AEW television against Samoa Joe. Andrew Everett, you're looking a little confused. So he was tagged with Justin. What was his name?
I don't even know if I know who Andrew Everett
The guy who has the beard, looks like an old school Cody Deaner, won the lottery or won off of crypto coin in NXT.
I have no clue. I have
All right.
no clue who that is.
Either way, this is a new Rise spot because he's not there to be my encyclopedia. He's been around for a bit. He's a Carolina boy. I was very impressed to see him. He was big in AAW. In Impact, he had a good run. I like Andrew Everett. But, I mean, when you heard Joe's music hit, you knew it was squashing time.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to look towards watching Joe's Twisted Metal. Has anyone caught any of it? So in the Twisted Metal video game that we used to play as a kid on Paramount Plus right now, they made a show. Samoa Joe plays Sweet Tooth, the clown character, but Arnett is doing the voice of him, so it's kind of funky. I'll still watch. The one thing that Justin never stops watching, Christian Cage and Big Brother's own Luchasaurus.
Yeah, favorite.
He's your favorite for some reason. 50%, you know what I mean? Arn Anderson comes out with old Brock. Enough is enough. This is not Darby Allin. This is Anderson's. They know us around here. This is hallowed ground in the professional wrestling. This is Horseman country. Oh, my God. I don't care what you say. Give me more Arn. Manage someone young that's still up and coming. Give me something. Brock jumps in, gets destroyed.
I like Brock's gear though. It was very Arn.
Yes.
Yeah, which I like it because I think that's the respect of where they are, right? It's the throwback. It's the
and this is something that bothers me on why they dropped the ball with WWE's new talent, Brian Pillman Jr., because when they started tagging together and they had that 80s style to them, one's an 80s rocker, one's an 80s professional wrestler. At the Ric Flair's last match, that was amazing for both of them. Why they didn't pull the trigger and play with that, I don't know. Brian Pillman Jr. will get over in NXT, and he will get to Raw.
Is he in NXT right now? Yeah.
He was at the last taping. There was no camera time, but he's there now.
Nice.
And I gotta love it.
I hope they do something with him.
Yeah, I think it's the right place for him. I think it is. I don't think he liked having wide open borders, and he needs to be in a confined space, and I think that will really benefit him.
I think he should be the one to beat Dominic.
Oh my God, that's so good! Dominic Mysterio versus Brian Pillman Jr. I'm in. Book it now. In the end, Darby comes in, saves the day. Here we go. I'm going to fight you. Blah, blah, blah. Then we get some Hobbs. Book of Hobbs. Miro. That's kind of fun. Having a little Miro action with a little Hobbs. I know Justin loves Miro.
I love both of them. They're two big men. It's my favorite kind of match. Two big men slapping meat.
Slapping meat. Well, speaking of slapping, what's a slap? Well, it's a chop. Hey, don't chop me. We go into the next match. AEW's Trios Championship match. House of Black versus CMFTR.
It was good. The crowd was into it. Crowd was really into it.
Yeah, but they lost it by the end. The match was good. The placement of each guy was good. I didn't feel Brody King got as much time in ring as he should have. I liked the trading of kicks. I liked Buddy being put on the main stage in a lot of the spots for this match.
Mm-hmm.
The cross-legged kneel down between the two was awesome. All three of them, 6 of them standing against each other was awesome. Dax is brilliant as usual, but it wasn't even him. It was Cash that was really making it look good. Punk was there. Malachi was awesome. Go ahead.
No, I gotta say that I love the trios. House of Black. I love their gear. I love they kind of changed it up, so it's like this. It was like black and gold and silver. They had gold in it, which was really cool. And I like how if they're all going to have different, say, tight style, but they're all similar in colors. Like that to me, I'm a big uniform guy. I think if you're to be a proper team, you have to be matching gear. Like that's for me.
So that's what makes a tag team.
That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. And a theme song, and one song for both of you, or 3 of you. One song for all of you, and matching gear, and there you go.
In the end, House of Black wins. Good. Let's fade to black, and then we pull up the curtain. Punk then walks out, grabs a mic, and starts shooting.
Oh, there's another thing before that, though, too. Joe was choking him out.
Oh, well, Joe choked him out to make him look strong. Okay, leading to their match. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, which we knew that. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. Then we look at Punk coming back to the ring, gets in the ring, grabs the mic, and starts shooting on Hangman again.
I didn't see that.
He makes a comment about him being a peg holder because when he goes to Walmart, all of CM Punk's figures are sold out, but Hangman's are all still there. He doesn't sell merchandise the way I do, etc., etc. Then more comes out. Last time he was at Dynamite, him and Nemeth got into it. Nemeth said that he was the softest person alive on a tweet. Punk was offended by this, said that it ruins the build of the character. It was poor timing. They shook hands. They separated. But Nemeth was really worried about his job. He was booked on this episode of Collision. Showed up at the arena, was sent away, said basically, you're not needed tonight. Sent him back home to California. Christopher Daniels and Matt Hardy were also booked and were both sent away. This is where we fall to what information is given to us. Too many clickbait boys out there, keyboard warriors, will just put out a story as if it's fact, and it might be opinion. The clickbait title is all that you read, so you assume. I think the assumption on everything I can say is Punk is too toxic for wrestling. We talked about the Bucks earlier, and when they retire, what have they left behind? They put over everybody. They did business the proper way. They built a company from scratch. They put on some of the biggest shows. They were responsible for the Hot Topic deal. They were responsible for the changing of merch through Pro Wrestling Tees, giving independent wrestlers an opportunity to make money in another way. I can keep going on, but you get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
What has Punk done for wrestling? For wrestling. I'm hearing crickets. Burying a guy like Hangman, who's on the curve of getting back into a position, made no sense for aesthetics.
It's just like Aaron Lyons. Yeah.
He is an absolute full-blown hypocrite with everything he says. Hangman goes out and calls me out and totally buries me. That wasn't what was supposed to happen, so he goes out and buries him back. Okay, you're a little touchy. You're a little sensitive. I'm sick of it. Justin, you've been sounding off all week every time something else comes out. The list of who will not work with Punk is getting bigger, And Collision is being a gatekeeps episode of AEW that's only controlled by one man. Power corrupts, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you feel about Punk?
No, I agree. I'm getting at the beginning, because I hadn't seen Punk in ages, so I was intrigued just like everyone else, and I was really into his promos, really believing what he was saying. But because of all the crap, and then I saw like stuff and kind of get an idea of how he could be really, you know what I mean? So when he's all about, he's in the ring, I do this for you, and we do it for you, the fans, and we love you. It's almost like that's like lip service now. It's almost if you're starting to feel that because he's maybe a selfish guy. He's doing things for him, but he always plays out like, hey, I'm here for you, and you're the reason I'm here. That's starting to feel a bit fake to me now.
Now, if this is all a work to lead the whole thing to him being an absolute heel, I don't think it's deserved. Since his return, the only match that I can actually pull out of my head and go, oh, this was a decent match, is the dog collar match. But look who he was fighting. MJF carried that damn match from start to finish, and Punk was just punking. Name a match. Show me a match that was quality, memorable of Punk's. Because if it's not on the stick, he's not remembered as the best in the world. When he's retired, dead and gone, he's a man of the stick.
Did he fight Danielson?
Yep.
What happened? I can't remember. I know it would have been that.
Not in AEW. They haven't crossed paths in AEW.
That's what I was wondering. I couldn't remember if they had or not.
No.
That will be. I think that's going to happen.
I think it would be a waste. I think it'd be another day that Punk ends up on the IR. I think the softest man needs to recognize his limitations. I'm mad that Connor's not here to defend his voice of the voiceless because, frankly, I said it when he was in Hamilton. Bedard, I hope, is a bust, and it's all because of Punk.
Yeah. Sometimes, to be the bigger man is to kind of keep things quiet or close to the chest. Like, I know it's about promos, but Punk seems like you said, it came out with a Hangman, but he always has to go off. He always feels he needs to say, needs to defend, needs to insult. Like, he can't just keep anything under. He has to run out to, no, hang on, give me the mic. I'm going out. All right, here we go. And it's like, here we go. Just can't.
The worst part was after the segment that he buried Hangman for no reason. The response is, it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I regret what I said. No, you don't. You got a couple enemies and you want everybody to know and you want people to pick side, but look at your ratings, bud. The sides were already picked. And the more you do this, the more you're harming the Collision product, in which I finished saying that it's been some of the best TV. And it wasn't because of Punk. Jay White, FTR, Hobbs, Miro, we're getting some good stuff. Ricky Starks is figuring out how to cut a promo that actually makes sense. Punk, you're not the reason we're watching.
No.
You don't put the asses in seats anymore. Maybe you did, but I believe this is going to end and the nostalgia of what he was in WWE would fall off, and he needs to go heel, toxic, and at least have an excuse for being a piece of dirt.
I think it's just a tired topic at this point. Every couple months you're going to hear some story about him being a prima donna, and it's just tiring. The fact that you can't even have your talent relations at the show because of this guy. I don't know if I believe the Matt Hardy one because Rebby would tell us if the Matt Hardy one was true. Still there. But,
who knows really what Rebby is entitled to say when it comes to AEW? On Impact, sure, she could sound off and talk all the crap, but I believe there is a shutdown, like not a gag order, that was said by Bryan Danielson, Mox, and Jericho. Stop talking to the dirt sheets. Stop getting on Twitter to air our laundry. This is not how business is done. That was the response to the brawl after the press conference. Those three stood up. Now, each one of those three people, I can say, have given more to this business than Punk's ever given. I can say he's taken, and he keeps taking. When's he going to give? You aren't Goldberg.
Yeah.
So I actually fell out at the end of that match because I was so irritated that Punk was in it. I still watched it, but I tell you, my heart wasn't in it. Once the guys I came to see were gone, I was done. And I was eager to head over to New Japan and watch the end of G1.
My feed kept freezing in the main event. I almost considered just turning it off, and because of Punk, it's just it's go away. He's on the screen. I just don't want to pay attention at all.
And what is even worse is the supporters. And I feel like they're doing the Cornette support, where it's like, oh, he's right. Everything he does is right. Nothing he does is wrong. Like, Kenny Omega's overrated. Bucks suck. Kenny sucks. Like, get your head out of your ass. These guys are excellent wrestlers. Could be huge if people don't bury for no reason. Don't understand how the human resources isn't able to go to a show. Like, because Ace Steel wasn't hired back. Now, this is all rumor and thought, opinions, because we don't get to hear it from the source unless it's through a toxic rant or from a hidden Meltzer message. I don't know what's real, and I have a rule: everything's a work until it's a shoot. And I don't actually see the shoot yet, so until I see Punk get punched out by Hangman in the back and they have to separate, and then that makes Hangman over more than ever, that's the only way I want it to end.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only way I want it to end. And as we end our AEW run, I did mention New Japan. Final four was pretty decent. In the end, Ospreay and Naito had a match. If you're not familiar, Naito was the guy that came out with that big suit at Forbidden Door.
Mm-hmm.
He's been my guy. He's my Japanese number one. I've liked him for a while now. And him and Ospreay have a match, and Ospreay hits him with the blade, the hidden blade, right to the front of his face. Now, for the next 5 minutes in this match, you can't tell if it's shoot or if it's work, because he drops and then he doesn't get up, and then Ospreay even yells at him, "Destino!" So then they go into the segment to hit his finisher, and it was scary, but it's Japanese, and sometimes they do that shit just to get to you.
That's good.
So, then Naito ends up getting the W over Will Ospreay. He moves on to take on Okada for the main event, or for the G1 finals, and Naito wins, assuming he gets a title shot, which is great because it's against Sanada. Sanada we'll talk about for a second, because where are we seeing Sanada, Justin?
An Impact. I'm very, very excited.
Emergence in Toronto. We will be there live, boots on the ground, to see Sanada in a great match. I'm definitely going to have to go meet him again. He's the champ of New Japan. We're going to assume that Sanada, his older group, LIJ, Los Ingobernables de Japón, the leader versus the student. Championship on the line. Who knows what could happen? Give the belt to Naito. I'm good with it. Let him have his last run. That's Japan. I actually jumped all over WWE as well. on Saturday morning, my Saturday morning cartoons now consist of me and my son watching matches throughout the week, the must-see matches. Rey Mysterio is a champion.
What? I didn't see
Rey
that.
Mysterio beat Austin Theory
No way.
for the title, and now he's a champion.
Wow.
I was happy.
Was that just on Raw?
Yeah, SmackDown. SmackDown.
Wow.
So my son is really into Rey matches, so we've been running through a lot of the good stuff. And I put this match on. He couldn't believe that it was live, and he lost his mind. I'm like, okay, good for the kid. We also watched Dominic and Dragon Lee over at NXT for the North American. Good match. There's been some good stuff coming out of WWE. I'm finding it harder and harder not to check in.
I'm really looking forward to Sheamus and Edge on Friday.
Now, I got rumor that Edge, our Toronto boy, this could potentially be his last match. Did you read this, or is this just malarkey?
That's what I think it's Trainer. I think the exact wording was the trainer said it could be his last match. So I think,
yeah. So as we say that, as we are AEZ, we are the Canadian subsidiary. So maybe they should definitely check that out this week so we can talk about it the following week. I don't want it to. I thought he finishes his career at a Toronto show. I thought that was the plan.
This is a Toronto show, though.
This is the Toronto show?
Yeah, this is in Toronto.
Shit, I should have got tickets.
What? This is in Toronto? Oh my god, how did I not know this?
Matt, we're Canadians, and we don't even know when one of the Canadian legends is going to retire.
I thought this was in like more like out west. I thought this was like,
yeah, but they're done their Western shows.
Oh.
They've been in Canada pretty much like for like 2 or 3 weeks straight. I think it's SmackDown in Toronto, and then next Monday they're in like Quebec City.
Well, shit, it's happening, boys. Because he said it last time he was in Toronto that his last match will be back in Toronto. I believe this even works on his contract. And I didn't realize time came so quick.
Yeah.
We might be saying goodbye to a legend.
Wow. Guess I better turn in.
Boys,
right.
Good show. I think we covered a lot of ground in the end. Fuck Punk. Oh, there I had to hit the F-bomb of the show. I think we have a lot of good stuff coming up this week. Obviously, I'll be tuned in. Boys, it was good to see you.
Yeah, good to be here.
And good show, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Peace. Have a good week.
See you guys.